Hello, and welcome to Straight No Chaser with Dr. Julius Bailey. I am Dr. Bailey, and we are live on the campus of Wittenberg University. We are, what is this, a Wednesday, right? We're about 41 days away, 41 days away from our fall elections, and hopefully you all are ready to engage. If this is your first time to Straight No Chaser, welcome, right? We are a 1 hour digital show where we bring you news, culture, politics, and all out fun. If you enjoy the experience today, please like our page and subscribe on YouTube. You certainly want to share this with your friends, right? We're just excited to have you today on our show. We have an exciting show for you today. It has been a few weeks since I have self-promoted and talked about my books, right? But you should know I got to give a little love, right, to my work, right? This is my most recent book, right? Racism, Hypocrisy, and Bad Faith, a moral challenge to the America I love. Came out in February by Broadview Press. I urge you to pick that up. Obviously, this book and Racism, Hypocrisy, and Bad Faith, as well as Racial Realities in the Age of Obama, that came in 2016. They both were award-winning books, and they're being taught on campuses across America and book clubs as well. So you want to make sure you get these books. Don't miss out. So we're going to get started with today's show. I am excited to be able to talk to you today. It is part one of a two-part discussion on law school and the legal field and public policy. Some of you know I am the pre-law director here at Wittenberg University. I am serving right now sort of in my two roles as both a host of this great show and as well as advisor to our pre-law students and our justice, law, and public policy minors that I also advise. And so today we will be talking about information to students here and abroad, wherever you're watching this at, about law school. Our first guest, all right? Our first guest is Shaelan Williams. Shaelan Williams, excuse me. She is a board member of the Southern Region of the National Black Law Students Association. And next year, this part-time next year, 2021, she is a JD candidate from the Thomas Good Jones School of Law. She is the founder of Luminous Consultant Group, LLC. We are proud to have Miss Shaelan Williams. Her friends call her Shay. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Bailey.
For sure. We are excited. We are excited to have you here to catch you in the midst of your extraordinarily busy schedule. Let the audience know a little bit about you. I know that you currently, I think, live in what we call the Ham in Birmingham, right? Are you from Birmingham originally?
Yes, sir. Born and raised. Shout out to Tuskegee University. My love, the illustrious Tuskegee University. To you, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. We are certainly proud of all our HBCUs. This is HBCU month across America, and we're going to give a shout out to Tuskegee, of course. But Birmingham, for me, quite frankly, is my second childhood home. I used to attend the First Baptist Church of Woodlawn. I grew up there back when O.D.M. Hoover was the pastor. And I used to love going there. And my great aunt and great uncles, God rest their souls, they used to be high school teachers at Parker High School. And certainly I spent all my time there growing up. The house is still there. The family house is still there. Still go down
Wow.
and visit in the sort of the Pine Knoll Vista neighborhood. It's a little bit north, right? Not too far from, I think it's what, Eastland Mall or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Okay, that's right around the way. All right.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So we just want to talk to you right now about law school, about your role. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do at the Luminous Group?
Absolutely. So again, thank you, Dr. Bailey, for having me today. Good morning, good afternoon to all of the viewers, wherever you're coming in from. I'm just so delighted to have been invited to speak with you all today. Just to share a little bit about me, who I am, and my journey and the company that I now use as an outreach to advocate for diversity and inclusion. First, my name is Shaelan Williams. I am a Southern girl at heart. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, to the best parents that instilled in me at an early age that it is your duty to take your God given gifts to make a difference in this world, to uplift the communities around you. I went to Tuskegee University and I was able to earn my bachelor's of science degree in sales and marketing. And then I went to corporate America, where I worked as a diversity recruiter, project manager, um, and just met some amazing people. Moved from Indianapolis, Indiana, with the Dow Chemical Company, out to Los Angeles, California, and was recruited by the Walmart Corporation in Bentonville, Arkansas. And there, I managed about $1 billion of business for Walmart US for their girls and boys shoes. Although those were very fulfilling roles and projects, I wanted to do more. I saw that there was a need out there for more representation in the legal field for folks that look like me and you, Dr. Bailey.
Mm,
And so I said, you know what? Yeah, I've always wanted to pursue law. That's what I'm going to do. I had no idea of where to start. Okay. And so I fumbled through in the dark to get into law school. The first time I failed, I took the LSAT and I was not adequately prepared because I didn't know how to prepare.
mm,
Okay. And so I took a year off of work. I prepared for the LSAT. I mastered the exam and I grew from the 14th percentile, where no one wanted me in their law school, right? Based upon my score, to the 70th
mm.
percentile. So I learned something in between there. And I said, you know what? Let's see what happens. So I applied again and I got into every single law school that I applied to, and I was
All
offered
right.
full tuition scholarships over $500,000. And that is why I started Luminous Consulting Group LLC, to help students work through how to get into law school and how to successfully pass their 1L year.
Right. That is a phenomenal story. Just for the people that are in the chat room right now, if you are in the chat room and you want to ask a question of the show or of Mrs. Williams, please just send a message to the chat. Can you give us that website to the Luminous group, consulting group?
Absolutely. So we would love to connect with you, whether you've taken the LSAT or you have already passed the LSAT and you're just working into figuring out what law schools to approach and how to appropriately prepare your admissions packet. We'd love to connect with you at
Okay.
www.luminousLSAT.com.
Okay.
www.luminousLSAT.com. We have our phone number there, our email. I'm very responsive. If you have any questions, I'm happy to connect with you there.
That's phenomenal. So yeah, so we'll put that in the chat. That's www.luminousLSAT.com. We'll certainly put that in the chat for people to, check in with you, check in with those parents, those students who are in the prep phase right now. We'll certainly have them check in. The funny thing, we talk about the test, so I went to Howard and I was a philosophy major, and we used to talk about going to law school. And so I took the LSAT a long time ago, though, probably what was that, 94, 93, 94, something like that. And I scored decently. I scored a 161.
Okay. Okay.
But I didn't go to law school. I didn't go to law school because to me, I felt I needed a 165 or higher. I needed to be in what I felt was the top 25 law schools in America, or I ain't going. Like I just felt like, look, I want my PhD in philosophy anyway. And I was going to graduate school at Harvard, and I was like, if I can't get into Harvard Law, I ain't going, right? And now that I think about my life, I may have cheated myself, right? I may have cheated myself trying to put I think too much expectations. And I like the fact that you told the story about the fact that you didn't even know how to prepare. You didn't know what it was about. And I like that story. And many people who are listening right now should understand that. But let's talk a little bit. Tell the audience a little bit about the scoring system and what should we be thinking about when it comes to scoring on the LSAT?
Oh, these are perfect questions. I love this so much, Dr. Bailey. I love this so much. Thank you for your question. Okay. Now, the highest score that a student or law school hopeful can make on the LSAT is a 180. Okay. That is the highest score, right? The lowest scores that I've seen students make are in the 130s and the low 140s. Okay, now statistics tell us that traditionally African Americans and Hispanic Latino law school hopefuls score in averages of the low 140s. Okay, and that is it's not a myth, but it shows that there's opportunity. Okay, so where law schools typically start enrolling students or start looking seriously at candidates tend to be in the 150, the mid 150 range. Okay, if you can get above a 153, which is about the national average right now, you are in good footing. You do not need a 180. You do not need a 160 for most institutions to get into a reputable law school program. A lot of students don't know that. So please lean in, students, if you're listening. You do not need a perfect LSAT score to get into law school. There's so many other factors that go into your law school admissions packet that law school admissions committees look at when they're evaluating if you will be a good fit for their program. Okay, but you have to show up for the LSAT, and it doesn't matter what your background is, where you come from. You absolutely can do well on this exam. You have exactly inside of you right now what you need in order to achieve and reach that next goal.
You better inspire the people on this show right now.
I had to fight through. I had to inspire myself because I had no help.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Speak over yourself, man.
That's right.
With that. Most law schools we know right now in America are still about 65% men, right? With, and then there's some schools, right? Like University of Chicago, where I'm from, NYU, obviously some of the Ivies, they're even closer to 70%. Like, obviously they even out, in California, they even out amongst some of your state schools. But tell me a little bit about what is that? Like, I mean, especially with you, with the Black Law Student Association, what are you seeing in terms of trends when it comes to women in law and young ladies going into law school?
Great question. So I'm just going to give a shameless plug to the sophisticated Southern law school, National Black Law Student Association. They've been doing some great work, especially around civic action, social action. So you all check them out as well. We're really out there hitting the pavement, and we love our communities. And we love uplifting our community. So shout out to them. Now, what I would say as far as statistics, what the ABA has shown, the American Bar Association, statistics from the American Bar Association has shown, is that only 5% of practicing lawyers are African American. And only 2% of that 5% are African American women, right? So out of the millions of lawyers and practicing attorneys in the United States, a little over 200,000 of them are African American women.
Wow.
That's a problem.
Right. Right.
That problem creates opportunity if we want to look at it in a positive light. The opportunity is that we empower our Black and brown brothers and sisters to reach for those heights, to reach for those goals, to let them know that there is a place for you in the legal field. You do fit, you do matter, because it makes no sense that African Americans can make up the greatest population in the prison system, but we're the most underrepresented community in the law, in the legal
field. Right.
That is also shown in law school admissions as well. And that is why my company, we partner with law schools. We partner with undergraduate universities to say, hey, this is a problem here and there's opportunity. And we see that you all are making moves to help increase the diversity at your schools. We want to help you so that it can be more than just a blurb on a website or marketing materials. We want to see brown and Black and brown bodies in the classroom learning, being empowered so that they can go out there and practice.
No question, no question. I mean, we got to have some, we certainly have to, sort of trumpet that call, and knowing that, I mean, everybody didn't watch what's the show with Annalise in it? Annalise Keating.
How to Get Away with Murder.
How to Get Away with Murder, right?
Great show. Yes.
We need some more Annalises out there, but certainly we need all the Shaelan Williams is out there that is doing the work that you do, not just for yourself but for others. And we know, I mean, obviously I'm an academic, and so we see in graduate school, right, in graduate study, there are a number of women who are populating our graduate schools and are getting masters and PhDs. But as you say, we need them in the legal field as well.
Yes.
I help students. I teach philosophy and I teach logic. And so I help students with logic games and analytical reasoning. But you mentioned earlier, and we'll talk a little bit about this, about the broader, the sort of the breadth of the application being more than just the LSAT test, but also we know there is this big thing called the personal statement, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of students, as you know, agonize about the personal statement. Probably has a lot to do with the numbers that you just mentioned, right? In terms of not having a lot of personal friends who've gone through the process, right? Yeah. And what is it that they should put in this statement? So we know, right, that each that these personal statements, right, allow for law schools to see, obviously, can the applicant write, right? What is the applicant's background? How does their the way you said it, how their background informs what they want to study and what type of lawyer that they want to be? Is that a fair assessment of what the the personal statement does?
Yes, sir. All I can say to that is amen. You hit the nail on the head. That is exactly what an admissions committee is looking for in a student's personal statement. I think that a lot of times pre-law students, there's something that we kind of work through, especially with minority law students, pre-law students like myself. We work through this imposter syndrome. And it's that question of belonging. Do I belong here?
Yes.
Can I succeed here? And so a lot of times I see students struggle through how do I create a story where the admissions committee will like me, where they will accept me. And what I like to tell students, and what I want to tell students right now, is that you bring your authentic self. Of course, you want to write in a more formal matter, but it needs to come from your voice. Your story matters. And you don't have to pretend to be someone else in order for a committee to like you, because they want you and what you uniquely bring to this world and what you can bring to their program and to practice. So definitely follow those tips that Dr. Bailey just shared. I mean, he covered it perfectly. But make sure you're bringing your authentic self as you do those things.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So I really just kind of want you to tell our audience, give your pitch, give your luminous pitch, give your come on and join, as you say, the sophisticated Southern Black Law Student Association. Give us your pitch to a parent, to a student right now that's considering law school. Why should they follow through and come on and join you?
All right. So I'm going to tell you this right now. Thank you, Dr. Bailey. What I will share with you students is this. Number one, Luminous Consulting Group LLC prices its LSAT services and pre-law admission services 75% below market value so that you can have access to quality education to get you into law school. Okay. That is what makes us different because we want you to have access. It's not priced low because it's not quality. It's absolutely quality. And we want you to get the highest score that you can possibly get on the LSAT. We want you to get into your law school of choice. We don't want you to have to pay for law school because if you're anything like me, I didn't have that to pay. Okay. So let us have your back. This is not a process that you need to go into alone. Okay, we'll have your back. And then after you get into law school, what will we do for you then? We'll make sure that you get through your 1L year. Okay, we have 1L retention programs, and we'll hold your hand through that year. All you have to do is show up, put forth the effort, and brief your cases. Okay.
That is, I mean, I'm going to be talking about your company as much as I can.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because you're right. I mean, your prices are certainly phenomenal and well worth it. We just thank you for giving us a few minutes of your busy schedule. I know you got so much going on with your life right now. And so thank you for allowing us an opportunity. I may have to call back on you. Is that all right?
Anytime, Dr. Bailey. You're amazing. I wish you the absolute best. Thank you for creating this platform to encourage and empower people. And thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And I look forward to having you on even before you become Attorney Williams. So,
all right.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, family. Man, that was rich, right? And so, if you're watching now, if you're going to watch later, we've talked about the process, right? We've even given you a resource, the Luminous Group, a consultants group, about one of the many, but this one is a Black owned and certainly a cost affordable and very much successful a consulting group to help you get through the law school process, the admissions process, as well as your first year law school. I like the fact that they said they walk you through your 1L, so they'll take you through that first year and help you through that process, right? So we talk about the process. So now, what happens now? What happens after you finish? What happened after you get through 1L and 2L and 3L, and even let's say you pass the bar. Maybe you don't pass the bar, but let's say you do have your JD, right? The law school career path is multivariate and diverse, right? And so our next guest, she is a trial lawyer, right, in Cleveland, Ohio. She is attorney Alicia Graves. She is of the law offices of Alicia N. Graves. She is a graduate of the University of Akron School of Law. I personally met her through her numerous community commitments in Cuyahoga County and beyond, right? Alicia has received numerous professional and civic awards. She participates in so many community organizations. She's received awards, awards like the New York Life Career Life Success Award. She's received the Rising Star Alumni Award from Case Western, where she did her undergrad. She was highlighted, right, as one of the Business Inside Business magazine's top 25 under 35 movers and shakers, right? And so we're just excited to have our next guest. She is also the vice president of the Northeast Ohio Black Health Coalition. She is the vice chair of the Solo Small Firm Division of the American Bar Association. She is also, she's got all these accolades. I just got to give it to you. That's my homie, my girl. She is the vice chair of the Protection and Advocacy for Individuals with Mental Illness Council of Disability Rights of Ohio. She is a member of the Council of Delegates of the Ohio State Bar Association. She is the homie. She is a friend of the show, a friend of mine. Welcome to Straight No Chaser, attorney Alicia Graves. Hey, lady.
Hey there. Good morning. Good morning. Great job. I need you all the time introducing me. I'm going to bring you along.
Hey, I'm a hype man. You can do it. You know what I'm saying? But the wonderful thing is all true, though. The wonderful thing is that you've not only put in the work, but you continue to put in the work. And we just thank you for the service that you render the state of Ohio, and especially Cuyahoga County. So obviously, we have to just start with you with this question. Well, actually, let me start this. I don't know if you heard the end of our last guest, but she was telling us about the importance of, especially women, but people of color getting involved in law school. Given the state of our country right now, would you, Attorney Graves, would you recommend law school today, and why?
All right. Thank you very much. I did hear the end of that. That was a great interview there. So I hope the listeners, if they didn't tune in while it was live, that they come back around and listen to that. That was pretty good. So interesting enough, it depends. It really, truly depends. So when young people, or they don't have to be young, all kind of people at all ages go to law school. When people come to me and ask me, or say to me, I'm thinking about going to law school, these are what my thoughts are, what do you think? The first question I ask them is, what do you want to do? And I ask that question because it's a big deal whether you're going to practice law or not. The education in it of itself is second to none. It is a magnificent education. However, law school is terrible. It is a horrible experience. It's hard, and it's a lot of craziness. And so don't subject yourself to that if you don't really want this, is really what I'm getting at. So it is a big deal. So I definitely ask people to understand or have a clear understanding of self and why they want to go to law school. So to the individuals who say, yes, I want to practice, I ask them, what do you want to do? And they give responses. Really, whatever you think you want to do before you get in there, you may or may not end up doing that. The law is vast. So there are so many opportunities that you don't even have the ability to understand if you haven't grown up around that. So if you are someone who was exposed to attorneys growing up, you may have a better understanding. You will have a better understanding of how the practice works. But for me and most, particularly minorities and other people, you have no clue. Do you know any attorneys? Probably not. You have no idea how the practice of law actually works. So when you don't have any concept of that, really, you watch something on TV, read something in the newspaper, you have no idea. The practice of law is so much different than anything you see on TV and anything you think you know before you get to it. So that's why I say be clear. It is expensive if you have to pay. And if you have undergrad debts, see, I'm very practical. I have a finance background and I have a legal background. So I get off into the finances. Hey, did you have student loans in undergrad? What do you have? Because to amass this great amount of debt, and then you simply do something, maybe public interest law or something like that, your income there's a cap on where your income is going to be, or there's a general range of where your income is going to be. So imagine having $150,000 worth of debt, but your income is going to cap at around 60. That's a different life. Do you want children? What kind of lifestyle do you want? Those things you should think about, and most people don't. And so when I'm having a conversation with people, I get into that as well.
That's very practical, and I thank you. I mean, obviously, we want to, especially in our community, we want be both aspirational as well as practical. And so realizing, and the practicality has nothing to do, and I think, and that's not what you're saying, it's nothing to do with whether or not you can do it.
Correct.
It's a question of, is this the kind of investment you want to make? So tell us a little bit about you as a lawyer. Describe yourself as a lawyer and give us the law offices of Alicia N. Graves' firm commercial pitch, right? Who are you? What should you do? Imagine this is your free commercial.
Free commercial. All right. So I'll give you a merged version of the I'm talking to my homies version and the professional version. So I have been practicing for just over 6 years. I started out as a solo practitioner and always have been. When I started out, I thought I would simply do estate planning because I had come from an insurance sale and investment background. So that's what I thought I would do. But as I ventured to actually do that, I thought to myself, well, it'll be a lot harder to build my practice if I only do this one practice area. And I have interest in other areas as well. So let me do a general practice. And then as it builds up, I will only do estate planning. So that was my goal. And then as I got into the practice of law, I had all these different areas of law that I practice in. And today I would tell you, I would never just do 100% estate planning. So it's probably about 30%, 30 to 35% probate, will, trust, and estate. So I kept my mind open, which is definitely something that I encourage others to do. Have an open mind because there are so many different areas of practice. So a few areas that I do, so estate planning, I do criminal law, I do family law. So I'm in the domestic relations court dealing with divorces. I'm in the juvenile court dealing with custody issues. I also do delinquency in the juvenile court, which would equate to a criminal prosecution if it were adult. So I deal with that. I also do civil litigation, so business, everything business related. I do real estate law. I do personal injury. I do everything. But the true answer is, if you ask me what I do, the reality is I do whatever the community needs me to do. There are areas of law that I practice in that I wouldn't necessarily practice in. And the reason I practice in it is because someone from the community needed an attorney and they couldn't afford one or couldn't get one. And they needed me and I did it. So there we go. So I do a number of different things, but everything I do is centered around the community.
And that's why, I ain't gonna lie to you. That's why, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. That is why every time I'm around you, I just smile because I know you're doing such a Herculean job there in Cleveland and you're representing the community, as you said. And I appreciate that. As you know, right now, actually, as we speak, the country is mourning the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Do you have any thoughts about her legacy, whatever impact that she may or may have had on your career or anything?
An amazing legacy, amazing jurist, an amazing woman. And, what I could say is we all should think when we pass away, we should hope that people mourn in happiness.
I know that's right.
And be honest, right? Because people say things about people who passed away, and sometimes you think, not quite. You're wondering, is that the same person?
Right.
This is not the case. This was a soul who cared for nothing more than justice. Justice for all, even though her main battle was for equality in women. But every step of the way, she acted with integrity and was unwavering in her commitment to justice and equality. And that is a legacy that I'm happy to follow behind.
I know that's right. And again, we are on with attorney Alicia Graves from Cleveland, Ohio. Speaking of Cleveland, we got to kind of get to the community work a little bit. I think last week, Cleveland has just received the ominous ranking of the poorest big city in America.
Yes.
Right. And even East Cleveland, right, as seen in the state of Ohio as the poorest place in this state.
Yeah.
What's going on in East Cleveland? What's going on in Cleveland right now?
So as we know that this is not the first time that ranking has been attributed to Cleveland. You know, there's so much richness here in Cleveland. One could only hope that it would be spread around in an equitable manner, not equal, but equitable. And it just, I can't say it has never been the case. Maybe it never has been, but I don't know when the last time it was. There are areas in Cleveland that are second to none, rival with places across the country that people think about all the time and would love to go. And then you can drive 5-10 minutes and see some of the worst conditions you've ever seen. And as a person who travels all over the world and who have seen third world countries, I mean, sometimes I'm just wondering what in the world is going on in Cleveland? What in the world is going on in this country, period? It just ought not be. So I think some of the leadership, well, not I think, I know the leadership has a great deal to do with it. You know, there isn't enough compassion to go around.
I know that's right.
I think that people are about self. Me and my family and friends, we have, therefore we're good. But what about the other person? If my neighbor isn't doing well, neither am I.
Right.
So I just think that we should have more concern and compassion for the fellow man and woman out here. And we need leadership that really takes heed to those words.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, we're not going to get political today, but certainly.
That's another show, hey, man.
That's another show, but certainly, I mean, but you're right. Like, you can literally drive from the flats to, East Cleveland in 10 minutes, right? And it's like night and day, right? And I mean, I joke, it ain't funny, but I joke that, you pass 30 or 40 churches, right? You pass 30 or 40 food joints, right? And then we see the homes, the disinvestment, the lack of compassion, as you say, from both a personal as well as a policy perspective. But then we also on that same strip, right? And you know this more than I do. Or we see the vibrancy of children. We see the aspiration and the laughter and the music and the incense and all this stuff is going on. And Cleveland is a rich town. We know that. And it pains me to see the suffering. And so I thank you for even mentioning the idea of compassion, because I think one of the things that I'm just going to be about, especially over the next, a few years, is just, we have to be able to teach a business class, not a class literally in class, but a class of people who are in business, to understand that, capitalism isn't a bad thing, right? But capitalism divorced, if you will, from compassion is detrimental for us all, right? And so I think that's what you're saying there. You're not against folk making their cheese, you know what I'm saying? But just you got to realize that when, the fact that Cleveland is ranked as it is affects all of Cleveland.
It does.
Right?
It does. Let me give you a real life story. Let me tell you the business model of my law firm. So I have both business clients and I just have individuals as clients. Whatever matter you can think of, I have dealt with it. To having clients who have literally nothing, and I did it pro bono, to people who have a great deal. But the model itself that I have, my business clients pay more so that the individuals who don't have money can pay less.
Ooh.
So that was instituted into my business model from day one. Mm-hmm. So I can forgive a cost or not do a cost at all because my business client, they're paying decent money. Mm-hmm. So when I say compassion, I mean compassion in action, not just, let's care about these communities. No, let's actually show that we care. Let's show it in what we do. Everything I do is for the sake of helping others. I am someone who has a very sincere compassion for access to justice. And for me, if you don't have access to a good attorney, then justice has failed. So I don't want you to be unable to get a good attorney because you don't have enough money. And
Right.
that's where I come in. And I do very well. So you can do it. You can do good and still thrive
Right.
if it's sincere. And for my case, it is.
Yeah.
So it is possible.
Yeah. No. Thank you for that. I do want to sort of go right back a little bit before a little bit come forward, and then we'll kind of wrap this up.
Okay.
You did mention that your background is in finance and finance. Tell us about sort of that background. I mean, did you work in banking, private firms, and then why law? Like, why? I always joke people. I'm like, how come not? Why not work with the hedge fund people? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think I would, but I'm just one. Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what was that? Was there a person? Is there a story? Why did you say?
There is a story. So let me start with the first part, the background in investments. So my high school education, which I went to Cleveland Public Schools, East High, Blue Bomber.
Shout out.
My education was finance based. So we had a program called the Academy of Finance. So I took advanced level maths, I took accounting, advanced accounting, economics. I took all of that in high school. So in addition to the traditional courses. So when I graduated from high school, I got 2 diplomas, one from the Academy of Finance and the traditional diploma. So the finance background was already there. I did not do business in college because I had already determined that I was going to law school. And I'll give that backstory in a second. So I did psychology and focused on eyewitness testimony. And I did a hybrid. It was American Studies, but that included American Studies, history, sociology, and English. So all of that combined equaled my American Studies major. And then I had the psychology major. And then I went to law school. So I did already know. So I also worked in banking. I did investments for Huntington Bank, and I did insurance sales and investments for New York Skylight Financial Group. So I did have that background as well. So it was a continuum with the finance. Now, backstory, why be an attorney? When I was in 6th grade, so 11, tender age of 11, there were 2 students in our class who were slightly older than we were, but they had come from a difficult family and had already had experience in the criminal justice system. Now, of course, we're 11. We don't know anything. We don't really know what it even means. Right. So one day, the teacher got up and she told the class about these students and that they wouldn't be back in the class, or at least wouldn't be back anytime soon. And she explained to us why. And essentially, the explanation was that they were involved in the juvenile criminal justice system, and based on the results from that, they would not be able to come back to the class. So after class was over, I think we had a break or something, I walked up to my 6th grade teacher, Miss Miller, who I still have a relationship with today. And I said, I don't really agree with what the judge did to those 2 young boys. And the teacher, I don't know how I was having this adult conversation at 11, I have no clue really. And the teacher, she said, I agree. I don't agree with what happened either. And somehow I have no idea where this insight came from. But I said to my 6th grade teacher, I said, well, you can't tell judges what to do. So I'll grow up and I'll become a judge so that I can make the decisions that are best for my community.
I know that's right.
And from that point on, I was working towards being an attorney. So today, I would tell you, I can't say that I want to be a judge today. I have great respect for the judges. But from my perspective, at least my perspective today, if you don't have a good attorney, it doesn't matter who the judge is.
Who the judge is.
So I have more abilities from my perspective to do more from this space than I would there. So I have the ability to make it so that you can afford a good attorney. I have the ability to argue and change the views of the judge. I have all types of abilities, and I will take my chances in here as the attorney. So from my perspective, I will perfect being the best attorney that I can be to help the community. So that was the right thoughts as 11. But now that I'm more experienced, I see myself as being the attorney.
I know that's right. That is phenomenal. Again, if you're just joining us on Straight No Chaser, we have attorney Alicia Graves today. We've just been gracious to her. She gave some love to our students out there who might be watching, giving them advice as to what to think about in terms of as they pursue or think about pursuing law school. She gave us many stories about what what drove her, what was her, points in the road that she had to navigate. It was a very, very rich conversation. Is there's only one other thing I want to ask you, and I'll let you kind of go through your day, and I appreciate it. And I think that surrounds your future. I mean, obviously you're still young, you're vibrant, you have a lot going on. I mean, do you see yourself practicing? Do you want to expand from a solo firm to a major firm? Do you want to? You already spilled the tea. You really necessarily aren't looking to be a judge. What might you be seeing for yourself in the next, say 5 to 10 years?
So what I would like to do, so I will be practicing law. What I would like to do is have a law office both in Cleveland and Columbus, because I work all over the state. And I see myself having maybe 4 or 5 different attorneys in both offices, assistants, paralegals, and just expanding what I already do. So I definitely see myself continuing the practice of law as an attorney, running my firm or firms. We'll see how that works. But that's what I intend to do, just be able to do more for the communities, expand more of what the reach that I can have in this state.
For sure. If someone wants to reach you, how can they reach you?
They can go to my Facebook page, Law Offices of Alicia N. Graves. And Alicia is spelled the same way as Alicia Keys. And Graves, think of the graveyard with an S on the N. I will not be going there anytime soon. So I'm alive and well and kicking it. And my contact information is there. You can also always go to the Ohio Supreme Court website. You can find information for attorneys as well. And it'll always give my address and phone number, or just do a Google search. I am here in Cleveland. If you're out and about, you will see me.
Got you. Well, much love to you, sis. Thank you for joining us today. Tell your mom I said hi. I remember last time I see you, we were eating breakfast at that place, right?
Yes, indeed.
And your mom was smashing that watermelon.
Yeah, that one was good.
So tell her I said hi, and I'll be seeing you very soon.
Yes, indeed. Thank you again.
Take care.
Have a good one.
See, Straight No Chaser fans, look, as you see, I'm just happy. I'm blessed. She says she's not going to reach the grave no time soon. I don't want to reach the grave no time soon. But if I do, just know I've met some wonderful people in my 48, 49 years. And I'm just excited to be able to just thank God for the type of influence that I've been able to have on others, as well as those have on me. And Alicia Graves is one of them. A little bit younger than me, but I certainly have learned a lot from her. She's let us know, as well as Shaelan earlier, that we can find a career path doing what you love, right? So you have to ask yourself, right, first, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with law, right? And then go into law school understanding that you can do what you want to do, because the law is so vast, right? But you need to understand that. And also what Alicia represents also is that you can go to law school, you can be an attorney, and you can serve the community as well as making money. And so, I love Alicia, and I love her home. I mean, I love her love for her home city in Northeast Ohio. She repped to Cleveland Public Schools, right? That was good to know. But hey, we're coming to our third guest. As some of you know, is generally the time that we shut it down, but we have a special added about 20, 25 minutes to our show today. And I'm just excited to offer this complete 75-minute show for those who are interested in law school, obviously for my pre-law students and justice law and public policy students who will be watching this interview, I'm excited to be able to bring you these three guests. Locally, we have the next guest, who is one of the most fascinating brothers in the Dayton metropolitan area. The Bible says that a good name is better than riches. And I don't know how much money our next guest has, but I know his name is minted in gold in these streets. And so when people say the word Brandon McClain, everybody just smiles, right? Everybody is excited when you say his name. And so he has been an advocate and fighter for all of Daytonians. What I love about him is that he is an unselfish supporter of all those who are doing work in Dayton and Ohio itself. I mean, he just, champions other people as well as doing the work himself. My brother Brandon, I follow so much the work that he does. And, it's just fascinating for me to watch a young brother like him who went to the University of Dayton Law School in Dayton, Ohio, right, and did phenomenally over there. He was awarded, I believe, 40 under 40 award just recently. The accolades just go on and on about this brother. And so before I bring him on for you, though, I know I've given him all this love. Before I bring him on, I just want you to realize that, our previous guest talked about the fact that she didn't want to be a judge, that she felt that she can do her work as a practicing lawyer. Our next guest, our brother Brandon, he has served as an acting judge in Dayton, in Montgomery County. He has served as a magistrate, right? And of course, if you're anything like me, right, you don't really like magistrates too much. You don't really like judges too much. If you can avoid being around them, it's probably the best. But if you ever run across this brother, his heart is for the people. His people will tell you that he's going to be fair. He's going to be honest. He's going to sort of be all about the business of helping the community as well as serving with distinction and sophistication. Just recently, I saw him marry someone about a week or two ago, right? He marries folk. And so, brother Brandon McClain is a phenomenal brother. And so, ladies and gentlemen, a straight note chaser, please welcome a true Renaissance man, purpose toward the growth of his community, attorney and recorder, Brandon McClain. Hello, my brother.
Hey, thank you so much. I was sitting there as you were talking so eloquently and giving all these different, props to me about just different things I've been blessed to do. I had to stop and pause. I said, "Who is he talking about?"
Who he talking about?
So thank you so much for that.
No problem, brother. Okay, no problem, brother. I was just talking to our engineer who was saying we was having a couple issues. But anyway, so I will ask you, man, as a lawyer, man, right now, right, the country is engaged with thoughts and memory of RBG, and even some have aligned her with Thurgood Marshall, right, as a civil rights icon. What do you say about that characterization? What do you say about her legacy? Do you have anything to tell the audience today about her?
Obviously, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is nothing less than an icon. Her presence on the court and her impact in our country is legendary. I would actually put her in the same room, in the same company as Justice Thurgood Marshall. And I would actually probably strike a different chord a little bit. Obviously, he is a father of civil rights. Justice Ginsburg is a mother of women's equality rights. And so they both argued several cases in front of the Supreme Court. They both had to overcome personal discrimination to see our country be progressed forward in a way that supported equality for all people. Obviously, Thurgood Marshall fought for civil rights equality. RBG fought for breaking down barriers that had held women back from getting treated the same as men. And they both did so using the 14th Amendment. And so there are a lot of similarities. I think that when you look at the presence of both, it really, especially during this time, it really highlights how much she will be missed and how much of a sacrifice she made. She was suffering, recently passed away from pancreatic cancer, and she was regularly going to work and fighting for equality, still fighting for the upholding to protect democracy. Thurgood Marshall and RBG are both, in my opinion, nothing less of gatekeepers of justice. Right now, our democracy is under attack in unparalleled ways. Her absence is going to be truly felt throughout this nation, throughout our country, by men and women alike. And what we have to do, in my opinion, is take up this fight that she fought until her death, of ensuring that we all double down as gatekeepers of justice. Our very state of democracy is under attack. Those attacks are not going to stop. They're actually going to become more aggressive. And that is why it is imperative that we vote. They say your voice is your vote. Do not allow it to be silenced. You have to make sure your voice is heard. We have to unify collectively to ensure that her sacrifice was not in vain, because that's what it was. She was terminally ill and continued to fight for folks who didn't know she was fighting for them. And honestly, for some people who may not have been fighting for themselves, she took up that fight. So now that her head is cold and God has called her home, we have to take up those arms. We have to take up that fight. And that starts with voting. That starts with making intentional decisions to ensure that our leaders reflect our values, reflect our perspective, reflect our vision for the type of nation and country that we deserve, the type that we want to live in, and the type that we want to leave for generations to come. That's what's at stake. That is what's at stake. And so what she means, I don't even necessarily know if we could measure it in words, but I can tell you that her absence will be felt not just by men and women, but by all people who, quite frankly, have ever had a battle where they felt that justice was at stake. That is where we are right now.
No, that's real. I thank you for that. So I mentioned earlier that you are a graduate of the University of Dayton Law School. And there are some future law school students who are watching. We've had a rich show for the last hour, man, of law school consultants, as well as a sister who's a lawyer. So I want to give your 2 cents. Sort of, what would you say to those who are watching what can they expect about law school, and how best would you tell them to prepare?
Law school will be, if not among, it will be the chief challenge that you will face in your lifetime. Law school will be challenging on several fronts. Obviously, the curriculum, the rigor that is associated with that level of work and that level of scrutiny goes without saying, but it's more than that. When you look at how difficult and how challenging law school is and can be, particularly for individuals who may not have the resources that some of your classmates will have. It is very important that you identify, find, hold on to, embrace a support system that will do the same for you. My mother told me when I was growing up that hard work is the great equalizer. And I want to say that law school is what really gave life to those words. Hard work is the great equalizer, because in law school, you will have the best of the best, the cream of the crop. You will have encounters regularly with individuals that will have more weaponry, more natural ability, aptitude, blessings than you may have. And
Sure.
those are not things you can affect or change. What you can affect is your work ethic. Don't ever let anyone outwork you. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're not good enough, because both of those things are unacceptable.
Wow.
You control your work ethic and you are good enough. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. You can do anything that you set your mind to. The only true obstacle with individuals making it through law school and actually passing the bar exam, the biggest obstacle that you will face is your own self-doubt. It is your own self-doubt. People have done it before, they will do it again. And there's no reason that you cannot be amongst that group.
You can't be in that.
You know, when you asked me that question, what, you know, I had to take a minute and pause, because I reflect back, you know, when I was going through law school now over 10 years ago. I started my law school journey. I was only 2 years removed from having lost my mother to lung cancer. I packed up and moved to a state, Ohio. At the time, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have any support system that was local. And I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to do a lot of reflection, and something that we don't give enough credit to. I had to do a lot of prayer.
Sure.
I had to do a lot of prayer. I had to come to terms with what I wanted to be and what I was willing to do to make sure I made it. We have to always keep close to the vest that anytime we live the days that God has allowed us to have, not only are we living them for ourselves, we are living them for the people who made sacrifices for us to get the benefit of the doubt, to receive the blessings and the opportunities that we have before us. And so what motivated me during those times, and specifically during some of those more darker days, was that I was living my dreams, and I was living out a version of my life that I was prepared to excel in. I wasn't there by accident. I wasn't there by happenstance. I wasn't there by chance. Everything was divine. It was all fate. And I was there to fulfill that fate. And so once I realized that, it really motivated me to embrace some of the challenges and quite frankly, to overcome them, because I knew that I was there and I was there to win.
No, man, that's a testimony, man. Thank you for that. So a little bit shift on the professional side. So now, obviously, you are a lawyer, but you decided not to sort of go to a law firm or be in private practice like our previous guest, but you decided to use your degree for public service. Tell us why, or how you sort of veered away from being a full-time litigator and to, doing the work that you do for the public right now.
Yes, absolutely. So, I've been blessed in my life to hold many different titles and have many opportunities. Currently I'm a county elected official. There are less than a dozen African-American countywide elected officials administratively throughout the state. I'm one of those. Prior to that, I served as a magistrate and acting judge at Dayton Municipal Court. As you already indicated, I am an attorney. Prior to that, I served in the military. I was a soldier. Public service is a calling that I have always embraced and been proud to answer throughout my life. It is a calling that I watched my late mother answer for neighbors and relatives who couldn't do for themselves. She would often cook for the neighborhood and not ask or receive anything in return. She did it because it was the right thing to do, because they needed her help.
Right.
So I grew up in a household like that. I have a grandmother who's 100 years old. She still tries to do for people, even though she can barely do for herself.
She can barely do. I know
that. So I grew up, with public service as that priority, and I still, keep that fiber. I believe that that's why we're all here. We're here to serve one another, because if I have your back and you have my back, then both of our backs are covered.
Man, see,
And
this
so,
is why everybody loves you, man. Because I mean, I can see it, man. I'm telling you, man, people, your name is just gold, man. And I could see it in your presentation. I could see it I can hear it. It resonates in not only your presentation in terms of how you say it, but what you say. I mean, you come across extremely genuine in terms of your interest in other people and your interest in service. And so I'm just curious, because of your because you are a servant leader in that sense, do you have a favorite role, right? You've served all these different titles. Do you, I mean, obviously the answer would be the role that I serve right now, right? But I mean, is there, I mean, given that's a given, right? I mean, is this something, I mean, I know you're currently, right? You said you're currently the Montgomery County Recorder, right? And
yes.
And obviously you enjoy what you do because you're running for re-election right now, right? So you love that,
Yes.
right? But at the same time,
Dude.
like, did you enjoy your time as a magistrate? Did you enjoy your time as an acting judge? Is that something you might want to get back to? How do you view your life?
I did. I enjoyed my time in all of my roles. To tie the two questions together and kind of give one succinct answer. I consider myself to be a public servant, and so I have been led and I have went where God has ordered my steps. I consider myself to be a public servant, and all of those roles was an extension of me serving the public. The Bible is clear that if you are a good steward over less, God will reward you with many. I started off as a soldier. I ended up being, honorably discharged as a sergeant. As an attorney, I did start off in private practice. I worked all over the state and put so many miles on this little car I had at the time. I mean, I wore holes in shoes trying to ensure that I was there to try to serve and help people who couldn't help themselves. I enjoyed that work. I worked on the prosecution side, and it was a short stint. I was actually a legal intern, but in working through that, I seen some of the manners of injustice, and I told myself that if I was ever in a position to do better, I would do better because I knew better. I knew there were things that were happening at that particular time in that circumstance that I just didn't agree with. I think that we have to make room for grace and mercy. We've all received grace and mercy, and particularly when individuals are at their lesser points, they need grace and mercy to get back up. And so, I enjoyed that time when I served on the court. It expanded my territory. The city of Dayton has about 140,000 people. I took pride in being able to make decisions that not just impacted those individuals who were in front of me, but caused ripples in the pond that impacted the individuals that were not in front of me at that time, but would be. I took pride in those things. And same as now, as a county official, our county, we're fourth biggest, I believe. We have almost 600,000 residents. I take pride in serving these people because I recognize that when I serve and help my constituents, these citizens, these people are my neighbors. We're all the same. We're all the same. And so, all of those things, I have been led through ordered steps. I have been blessed to be able to be in a position to make decisions that affected, my community, my neighbors, and ultimately myself. I've really loved it, embraced it. Looking forward to continuing to do it. You indicated I'm running for re-election. I'm unopposed. Thank God I don't have any formal opposition. But there's always opposition when you're trying to do good. And, our community is faced with significant opposition. We're faced with significant opposition when it comes to healthcare. We're faced with significant opposition when it comes to how we defend ourselves against COVID. Because, aside from COVID, we still are having issues with blood pressure. We're still having issues with heart disease. We're having issues with infant mortality. We have plenty of different opposers in our community. And so even though I don't have any formal opposition, I'm still out there beating this drum and trying to be a voice for people who are otherwise silenced, because even though we don't have formal battles, we all are collectively fighting a battle, in our community to make sure that people get what they need to be okay.
Man, you got folk wanting to jump up and shout and dance and everything, man. This ain't that type of show, Brother Brandon. We ain't here. We ain't here for a praise break, man. We just ain't here for that, man. But man, thank you for being the servant of God that you are. Thank you for allowing God to use you in every aspect of your life. You know, I think certainly Montgomery County is better because of you. The citizens are better served with you in that position. And like I said, when I opened this segment with you, and your good works, you know, sort of precedes you. You know, I tell students all the time, like, you know, that the testament of who you are is sort of what people are saying without you being around, you know? And so it's just like, you know, people say so many good things about you. And so, you know, I just can't wait till we sit down and break bread, brother, soon and talk about what's going on with us and how I can help you and help what you're doing with other great folk there in Dayton. I do want to ask you, man, I might have to ask you to come back on this show so people can, now that I know you got a little hoop in you, I might got to bring you in for another kind of show.
Hey, you let me know I'm there.
I know that's right, man. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if it's your end or my end, but I do want to make this statement to our audience. They are unable to see your face right now. And so I don't know if that's on our end or your end, but certainly I want the audience to know that he is a good looking brother. There he is. There he is. He's a handsome brother. And so I think I ain't gonna lie. I don't know who fault it is. I think it's a fault that I didn't want nobody more handsome than me on my show. And so I just figured I can't have two of us on the show at the same time. So I just ran your name. And now I'll put your picture up and let folk know who've been talking for the last 25 minutes. Man, thank you so much, man. And listen, now we'll be in contact very soon because I do want to, you know, break bread with you soon, man. And good luck, obviously. I mean, obviously you're unopposed, but, you know, I know you're out here working on other folk campaigns and helping other folk. And so thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service. And thank you for coming on Straight No Chaser today.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for extending the invitation. Look forward to breaking bread and looking forward to more discussions. God
All right,
bless.
man. Take care. Have a good day. So listen, audience, again, you know, I can't wait for folk to watch this show back. I can't wait for folk who are in law school, thinking about law school, current lawyers, jurists, public servants to watch this show back and understand again, remind yourself, because COVID probably has taken a lot from us, our energies, our inspirations, and we can probably learn, just watch this back and just remind ourselves what it is or why it is that we got involved to do what we do. I am just privileged to be able to have given you this show today, this show that included Shaelan Williams and the Luminous consultant group that we have in the chat. You can check them out. We gave you attorney Alicia Graves out of Cleveland and the great work that she's doing. And we ended up with the great brother, and I understand not preacher, a recorder of Montgomery County, Ohio, Brandon McClain. Listen, if you are a pre-law advisor, if you are a law student, this is the show to watch. And so we thank you for being on here today, a special 75-minute edition. We will have part 2 of this October 7th, I believe. We have one of the top 100 Black lawyers in America that'll be on the show right now. He is responsible for so much stuff you'll know. And when I mention his name, you'll recognize him. I'm excited to be able to have him on the show. We're still working on a couple other folk, but we're going to have a good show October 7th as related around law. This is our last show of the week, right? We come back Monday with my degree money crew. And so A.D. Carson, Professor A.D. Carson out of University of Virginia, Professor Shaelan Battle out of Xavier University, and my brother, Professor Deliso Rui, who is in Canada. I can't think of the name of the school right now. I want to say university. Don't give me the line, but I'll let you know on Monday. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Please share this video. Tell your friends about it. Have a safe weekend. Take care. Stay strong. God bless.